Hey friends, it's Emily from the Goldilocks Kitchen, and today I'm going to teach you how to make these beautiful sopapillas. These are from my home state, New Mexico. Chances are, if you've never visited New Mexico, you've never heard of them, and that's okay. That's not why you're here. You probably have visited and eaten these and loved them, and you want to recreate them at home. Well, I'm here to show you exactly how to do that, and I'm also going to show you a few tips and tricks to make sure that you have success making these at home and they puff up for you. They can be temperamental, so I want to ensure that you get these to puff up at home and that you can enjoy them just the same way that you did when you visited New Mexico. So let me tell you what you're going to need. You're going to need 4 cups of sifted flour, 1 tablespoon of baking soda, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil or shortening or lard. You can use any of those. 1 1/3 cup of warm water and frying oil. So you can choose whatever kind of frying oil that you like. I particularly use vegetable oil because it's the cheapest. And you just want to make sure that you have enough to fill whatever pot or pan that you will be using to deep fry them to about the 2-inch mark. 1.5 inches to 2.5 inches is best.
All right, so grab yourself a medium mixing bowl and add the flour, baking powder, sugar, and salt together. You'll want to give that a little whisk or mix with the hand or spoon till that's all mixed nicely together. Then create a small depression in the center, and next add your fat, either the vegetable oil, and if you're adding the lard or the shortening, you want to melt that. Then to that add your warm water. Now I like to use a spoon, you can use your hand, but you want to stir this together till it just comes together and it's easy to begin to knead. Now you want to knead this dough for about 5 minutes, and I usually do it by hand, but you definitely can use a stand mixer. That's totally fine. And if you do use a stand mixer, I would only need it for probably a couple of minutes, maybe 3 at the most, just until you get to this nice somewhat smooth consistency. It's not completely smooth compared to other doughs, but it's smooth enough. That's just what sopapilla dough looks like. All right, so now you're going to divide it up just to make it easier to handle. You can cut it in half or in 4s, it doesn't really matter. And you need to rest this dough for about 20 minutes. Though I like to put it in a plastic bag just to make sure it stays moist and doesn't dry out. You can cover it with plastic wrap, whatever you prefer. All right, so once that dough has rested for about 20 minutes, it'll be just a scooch stickier than it was when it went in to the rest, and that is okay. I don't usually need to add flour. You can if you feel like you need to. It's just a scooch sticky, but it's not going to stick to your hands, and you can peel it up off your counter without making a mess. So you're going to go ahead and just pat it down gently with your fingers and start rolling it out. See, it's all nice and smooth. It's definitely smoother than when we first kneaded the dough together. So each time I roll it out, I'll peel it up and turn the dough just a little bit. Doesn't matter, counterclockwise, clockwise, whatever you prefer. And as you roll it out, it's important to roll it to the proper thickness. So, and there's a reason why I pull it up each time, I promise. So as you roll this dough out, you want to keep it from sticking too much to the surface, and then you need to roll it to just the right thickness, and that is 1/8 of an inch, people. Don't go any thinner than that, because you put it in too thin to the hot oil and you'll have a very tasty cracker. I don't think you want that. So you want a nice puffy sopapilla, and the key to that is making sure the dough is not too thin. So please use a pizza cutter if you have one. Don't use your knife to cut these pieces of dough. You'll dull your knife very quickly if you're cutting directly on your counter, and you'll probably put some slice marks in it. Okay, so pull that dough up very gently, just as you saw me doing there. So now when the oil is hot, you're going to go ahead and pull up a piece of that dough, slide it in the same orientation as when you picked it up. I mean, the top stays the top and the bottom stays the bottom. For some reason, I get better success when I put my dough in the hot oil, keeping it in that same orientation. Up is up and down is down. So that is trick 1. Trick 2 is what you see me doing here. You want to splash a little bit of that hot oil over the top of the dough, and this will help heat that up and really get a nice puff. So once that's golden brown on the bottom, you're going to flip it over and cook the top until it's golden brown as well, and remove that and put it on a cooling rack, or you can put it in a bowl that's lined with paper towels and continue on with the rest of the dough. Now, some people have asked, can you make sopapilla dough ahead of time? So I did it. I'd never actually tried this before. So here is the dough that I made a couple of days before, and I kept it in the fridge. When I pulled it out to fry it, it was extremely sticky. So I had to knead a bunch more flour into it. And when I rolled it out, I had to let it, rest again. And then when I put it in the oil, that's what it looks like. So it did puff up, but honestly, it looks more like a scone or a beignet than the sopapilla. It still tasted fine. So if you really want to make your dough ahead of time, that is what you can expect. So, and of course, the funnest thing about making sopapillas is just watching them puff up. So I had to add a little bit, just a few seconds of really cool B-roll in here of watching how cool it is to see this dough puff up in the hot oil. So enjoy.
Okay friends, and here is the finished product. These beautiful golden brown puffy sopapillas. Now, the way that we eat them in New Mexico, you can eat them however you want, but we usually tear off a corner and then fill the inside with honey. That way it doesn't get all over your hands, which is really nice. Just like so. You can also stuff these with beans or a meat filling. Make sure you smother it in red or green hatch chili sauce. If you do that, they are spectacular. All right, here's the taste. So good, so good. It's amazing. It just brings so many memories. And you know what else is fun too is a lot of times the kids will look for shapes in here, like this one. Looks kind of like a little dolphin or a whale. There's other. Oh, look at this one. This one's like a Klingon bird of prey ship from Star Trek. Yeah, yeah, secret Trekkie. Also, people will put cinnamon, powdered sugar on these. You can eat them really however you want. I'm just showing you, how we enjoy these in New Mexico. So if this video was helpful, I would really appreciate a like. Also, you can find this recipe and many more in my book, New Mexican Food Made Easy, right there with the sopapillas on the cover, and that's currently on Amazon. You can find it there. And you can find even more delicious recipes on my website, GoldilocksKitchen.com.